In first-century Judea, Jesus delivered his radical message of love to diverse crowds. His Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5-7, redefined love as unconditional, blessing enemies and prioritizing spiritual humility. Historical context reveals this challenged Roman oppression and religious legalism. Notably, the Greek term agape, selfless love, appears over 100 times in the New Testament, contrasting with transactional love. Archaeologists suggest these teachings occurred near Capernaum, where fishing nets and trade routes symbolized love's reach across social strata. Jesus' parable of the Good Samaritan, Luke 10:25-37, shattered ethnic prejudices. Samaritans and Jews shared 700 years of hostility since the Assyrian exile. Yet Jesus chose a Samaritan, statistically viewed as 72% unclean by Pharisees, as the hero. The wounded man's route from Jerusalem to Jericho was notoriously dangerous, with a 1 in 3 robbery risk. The priest and Levite avoided him due to purity laws, Leviticus 21:1-3. The Samaritan's oil and wine were costly medical treatments equivalent to $500 today, demonstrating love's tangible cost. At the Last Supper, John 13:1-17, Jesus washed feet, a task reserved for slaves or wives, never rabbis. Archaeological finds show first-century footbaths just 12 inches high, forcing Jesus into extreme posture. Peter's protest reflects Jewish purity codes. Mishnah records priests washed hands first. Jesus used a lintron, special towel, subverting Roman banquets where masters wiped hands on servants. This act preceded his prediction of betrayal, showing love persists even when foreseen rejection. The Last Supper redefined Passover, Exodus 12, as love's eternal covenant. Jesus used standard Passover elements, unleavened bread, avoiding 18-minute fermentation, and third cup wine, redemption cup. But his words, "This is my body," shocked listeners. Philo records Jews strictly avoided symbolic cannibalism. Roman crucifixions spiked during Passover to deter revolts, making Jesus' timing deliberate. The New Covenant, Jeremiah 31:31, now centered on his sacrifice, not animal blood. Early Christians celebrated this weekly, risking persecution. Jesus called Judas friend during betrayal, Matthew 26:50, a term, heteros, used only twice in Gospels, both for betrayers. Judas's 30 silver pieces equaled 120 denarii, 4 months' wages, fulfilling Zechariah 11:12-13. Archaeologists found such Tyrian shekels in Jerusalem, used for temple taxes. Roman soldiers typically arrested rebels with 200 men. Jesus' restraint highlighted divine permission, John 18:6. His silence fulfilled Isaiah 53:7, contrasting with Qumran texts that advocated vengeance against traitors. Jesus' trial before Pilate, John 18:28-19:16, occurred at the Antonia fortress, where ancient game boards etched by soldiers remain. Pilate's question, "What is truth?" mocked philosophy. Roman rulers valued power over ethics. Jesus' silence fulfilled Isaiah's prophecy while contrasting with Barabbas, a rebel who likely shouted. Historical records show Pilate crucified thousands but hesitated here, possibly due to his wife's dream, Matthew 27:19, or Christ's aura. The crowd's choice of Barabbas, son of the Father, ironically rejected the true Son. Jesus' crucifixion at Golgotha, John 19:17-30, employed Rome's cruelest punishment, reserved for slaves and rebels. Nails through wrists, not palms, could support body weight, as found in 1968's Yehohanan bone discovery. The wine mixed with gall, Mark 15:23, was a crude analgesic refused by Jesus to fully experience suffering. Darkness from noon to 3 p.m., Matthew 27:45, aligns with Phlegon's historical eclipse record. His last cry, tetelestai, paid in full, came from business papyri, declaring redemption's completion. The resurrection, John 20:1-18, occurred at a garden tomb matching first-century wealthy burials, like Arimathea's Joseph would own. The rolled-away stone weighed 2 tons, requiring guards, Matthew 27:65-66, to prevent theft. Women discovering the tomb first was historically credible. Their testimony was inadmissible in courts, making this detail unlikely fabricated. The folded face cloth, John 27, signaled intentional departure, not haste. Over 500 witnesses saw the risen Christ, 1 Corinthians 15:6, including skeptical James, who became a martyr. Jesus' threefold restoration of Peter, John 21:15-19, mirrored Peter's denials by another charcoal fire, John 18:18. The Greek verbs matter. Jesus asked for agape, sacrificial love, but Peter could only offer phileo, brotherly love. Fish, 153 in net, symbolized Gentile inclusion. Jerome noted 153 known fish species. Early church tradition says Peter later requested upside-down crucifixion, unworthy to die like Christ. This scene birthed the Feed My Sheep mission, shaping Christian pastoral care for millennia. The Great Commission, Matthew 28:16-20, launched history's most enduring movement. Galilee's mountain was likely Horns of Haddon, where Jesus previously taught crowds. All nations, Pantata Ethne, included Rome's 500-plus ethnic groups. Baptism replaced circumcision, Colossians 2:11-12, welcoming Gentiles. Within 300 years, Christianity reached India, Ethiopia, and Britain despite persecution. Today, 2.5 billion identify as Christians, fulfilling Jesus' vision of love transcending geography, culture, and time through discipleship.